So, like, aside from everything being broken today, and I do mean everything, uh, AWS had a problem. They were like, "It's not you, it's us." I'm like, "That's great, thanks, geniuses." Tried to buy something, couldn't check out. I mean, yeah, they cleared it up eventually, but like, what's going on? But one of the things that occurred to me is this idea of flattening and making everything sort of the same and equality doctrine and all that I talk about on navigating patterns. Um, that already happened in the computer industry. I mean, that's what microservices are, right? We're gonna take away the complexity of something like C code with its 4-stage compiler, right? And we're gonna, get it down to these nice, fluffy, rapid application development languages like Python. I love Python. Don't get me wrong. And then we're gonna allow you to, write things, and then that's hard because there's all these pieces. I know. We'll divide it up into containers and services, right? And deliver services with containers, and you need to worry about operating systems, except you really do, because you still got to know security, right? To create a security hole by giving the developers control over their own code and how it's distributed. It's just inevitable. It's a trade-off, And then we're going to squish it down more by making services sort of ubiquitous, and we're going to call everything an API, and you need something to manage the API, so we're going to make an API gateway, and in the midst of this, there's Ben Eater's lovely YouTube channel. I'm not going to give you a link. This is not the channel for that. You want links? Go to my better channel, where I don't talk about any of this stuff. Ben Eater has been doing this thing with breadboards and computers from scratch, built from chips and components. Freaking cool. So I guess he's got a new project. I don't follow him that closely, right? I just kind of spotted him and said, "Oh, that's cool stuff." The old 8-bit days. Yes, bring back 8-bit. So his new one is a 6502 computer where he puts together a BIOS for it, codes the BIOS, slaps it onto the breadboard, and bang, you can run it 6502. And then recently, apparently, he did BASIC. So Microsoft Basic source code's available. So there's Microsoft Basic for his computer by modifying the Commodore Basic, which is even funnier. And showing you how to do, not the details, but how to do the compile and how to edit it and find the little numbers that you need to do assembly language, right? Which he sort of went over in his previous project. And you can build this thing yourself. I'm kind of tempted. I don't think I will. I mean, I got too much garbage as it is, and I don't know. If I hit the lottery, maybe. But that's the re-enchantment of computers. How does this stuff work at the bit level? What's actually going on? And you can already see the cracks, right? Intel's got this big problem with, who knows, ring buffer, or not ring buffer, sorry. The ring rail on the CPUs that gets too hot because it's over voltaging. And then it turns out it's over voltaging because of low voltage and expectations. It's too deep for me. Like, I barely understand it. But yeah, it's one of those perverse things where you run the processor lower, and that actually causes the CPU, under certain settings and conditions from the OS, to over voltage the rail relative to the load, and that burns the chip out effectively, something like that. I mean, I might be getting that a little wrong because it's really hard to follow, and that's brand new info that I guess just came out this week or whatever. And then they've got corrosion and all these other problems. And then Gamers Nexus, again, no links. You can go find Gamers Nexus, and you can find Ben Eater's channel and stuff on your own. Gamers Nexus does this great tour of an Intel factory. Oh my goodness. The level of complexity and the number of sophisticated vendor pieces you're relying on, that can't last. That's all going to come crumbling down. I don't know what we're going to do then, but that's not long for this world. That's an insanely well orchestrated and complex factory floor to make wafers and the stuff they're doing. I mean, check it out. It was a good documentary. I enjoyed every minute of it, but my goodness, I understood a little bit more than what they understood. I learned a lot, though, because a lot of stuff I haven't kept up with fabs. I worked at a place that had a fab. Right. They did they got famous doing the Apple coatings. It was a place called Shipley. It was in Marlborough, Massachusetts, where I used to live. Yeah, I worked at Shipley, I think 2 different times for 2 different, I was a subcontractor, right? For 2 different contractors. And then my girlfriend went to work there as a chemical engineer. She was wicked smart because if you're in Massachusetts, you are. Um, so I've seen clean rooms. I know sort of what they're like. I know a little bit about chemical deposition and things like that. My uncle worked on the carbon fiber that they use for planes, like he in the research lab. So I know a little more than your average bear, we'll say. Um, to be fair, bears, they know a lot. But this complexity level and all these little parts, like the complexity level is going into the chips that is one tiny component of your computer. Granted, those are just the high-end processors. The support chips and stuff are not that bad, we'll say, but still, you're relying on all these vendors to get all this stuff to you on time, to do all these deliveries. And this factory, it's not one factory, it's 4. And they've got a carriage system to carry wafers between the factories, because you can't touch them anyway, with little robots that fly across the ceiling, right? They hang from the ceiling. It is insane. It's the nuttiest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've seen a lot of nutty things. That's the nuttiest thing. That factory tour was off the hook insane. It was cray cray. I loved it. Gamers Nexus, great. They're doing great work now, although they're getting more journalists. Right, they're following the pattern of the old journalism. So you can see that emerging, right? That's been going on since 2014, when Carl Benjamin and Tim Pool and such not broke out of the corrupt, what do you want to call it? The corrupt Fourth Estate. If you want to know more about that, go to Navigating Patterns, look up my Follow the Fourth Estate video. I've got it all there. Well, not all of it, but I've got an interesting story there that sort of proves that the journalistic integrity is gone and journalism as an industry is already dead. Was dead in 2014, basically, or maybe before that. I don't know the exact number, the exact date. Doesn't matter. All the important facts are there. You can look them all up from that video. So the computer industry flattened itself already. And now the problem is putting pieces back together, right? And re-enchanting things, because how does software work anymore? And well, if AI is good at coding, do you need software engineers? If you don't need software engineers, that's because software is flat. That's not because AIs are good. Sorry. And no code. And by the way, AIs are terrible at software. Although I just read an article that said GPT 4.0 or whatever the hell it's called, 4.0. I don't understand why they can't use numbers like normal people, but apparently that's been over in the computer industry for some years now. Goodness forbid we actually use math for computers. Apparently that can code better. My experiments have been terrible. I mean, there's certain things it does really, really well, and it can script. Oh man, AIs can script really well, but write software? No, that's a whole different thing. They can't use existing software. They can't debug existing software well at all. At all. Oh, horrible, horrible. I had the following error message. Oh, sure, yeah, rewrite the code. It's identical, you muppet. Oh, yeah, you're right, it is. I'm sorry, rewrite it this way. And then that's worse. And I'm just like, oh, nightmare. And granted, I'm doing very limited small sample testing on something I care about that nobody else cares about. But still, like, these are simple tasks that any junior level programmer should be able to do. The AI can't handle it. So I'm not too worried about it. But also, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff AI can do that we consider software engineering. Maybe we shouldn't consider it software engineering if the AI can do it. That would be my guess. Scripting, again, fantastic. Some translations, I had it translate from TensorFlow to PyTorch. Flawless. It's fantastic. Did a great job. Anything else? Not so good. And it's not clear to me that they're training on good code. They seem to be training on all code. Well, most code on GitHub is garbage. Like most of it. Most of it's complete trash that is irreproducible and can't be run. And we've already gotten to the point, actually, we've already passed the point where C code's that way, right? There's old C programs you can't compile anymore. Why that would be the case, I don't know. Probably easy to fix. Maybe for somebody like me, if I had a development environment up, which I most certainly do not for C programming anyway. I probably have a old development environment somewhere, and maybe one day I'll go and resurrect all the old equipment in the shed or something, and get a bunch of development environments up. Seems unlikely though. I do want to someday resurrect my Xerox 1108, which now has an emulator. I just found out. I'm so excited. So excited. Someday I'll get to do that. I've got a device on the I'm such a whore for this stuff. I've got a device on the way that'll read MFM drives, including 8-inch floppy drives and stuff, without a computer. So we're going to do we're going to attempt a bunch of restoration work on some old hardware once it gets here. God awful expensive, but worth every penny. I think it's like $300 for the damn thing. But I was like, no, I got to have this. And it's actually something I can use. I have enough MFM drives with stuff I want to get off that is totally worth it. So the whole Xerox 1108 is loaded with an OS and ready to rock. If I can't get the machine to work, I might be able to get the hard drive spun up one more time and get all the data off. That would be cool. I haven't powered it up in years, obviously, but it might still work. I don't know. But I think the hard drive, I could get it to spin once more. And that saving all that data would be cool. I have a bunch of 8-inch floppies for the damn thing. That would be cool. I've got an MFM hard drive on an old Novell NetWare 311 server. That'd be cool. I might have one or two other MFM hard drives lying around. That'd be cool. If you want to see that stuff, leave me a comment, because I need encouragement to do things, because I have too much to do and prioritization is not my thing anymore. It used to be. I used to be awesome at it. Now it's like, who wants to do anything ever? We need to resurrect the past to some extent. I mean, I think that's why you see all these retro channels on YouTube. And some of them are great. Some of them are complete garbage. But some of them are great. Some are neat. Some are fun. I can't remember the guy who does the Unix stuff that I like. Yeah, he does great stuff, though he's British or UK-ish or something. He's over there across the pond. Yeah, he just did one recently. I think it was recent. I don't know. These things pop up on my feed. I don't always pay attention to the dates. With the last Spark Station, the commercial Spark Station ever built. It had a nice story to it too. I don't know how true it is, because sun is barfy. And they infected us with containers. Containers are a very old technology. They were made for Java. Java runs in containers. Java runs in a containerized VM. That's what Tomcat manages. And the other one, Jet something Jet. That's what they manage. They were container management systems. Much older than Kubernetes and much less functional in some sense. Also pretty old, banal technology that's boring. Also, same nightmares with security. That's not a coincidence. You want things simple for the engineers, you're going to get things insecure and really hard for the DevOps people, right? For the guys who do systems engineering. It's a trade-off. And we're just trying to squish the world so everything's easy and accessible for everyone. And all we get is garbage code that goes down all the time. I'm struggling with AWS to change your entire freaking interface. Trying to do a contract for a buddy of mine, and they can't get me an account that I can access EC2 from. I don't know. My personal account works, so I don't care that much. I don't know what's going on. I don't think things are getting better, but it looks like they're getting worse. And at some point, the whole thing is going to come crashing down. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm not too happy about it. A lot of stuff is going to be unfixable, for sure. It's going to need to be rewritten. And in the short term, the rewrites may work, and that's fine. But in the long term, everything needs to be rewritten in a low-level language, and probably not Rust. Sorry. Or Go. Sorry. Probably C. You're not going to beat proper C code. That's how you write languages. That's how you get 8-bit computers up and running and burn ROMs for them. But do check out Ben Eater's stuff on MS Basic for his 6502 machine. It's kind of fun. He does some stuff with the LCD screen that he has too. That's kind of cool. I was like, oh, that's neat. See how slow Basic is? And look, here's how you speed it up. Pretty freaking clever, dude. I like it. I like it. Reminds me of the bad old days with Peek and Poke and Basic and all the fun stuff you could do. So yeah, check that stuff out. And yeah, if you like this stuff, let me know. If you want to see me restore my Xerox 1108 someday, let me know. Maybe I'll actually try to do that. It's a big project. It's a big machine. It's physically large. And I got to move a lot of stuff to get to it. Not a lot of stuff, but like stuff has to be moved. And I need to clear space to put it somewhere because it's big. I'd have to lose the guest room for a little while anyway. But you know, it's doable. It's doable. And I've got Deoxit, which I found long before I found Adrian's digital basement. I still like Adrian, but what a goofball he is sometimes. Man, you make so many mistakes. I'm just like, no, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? So I have Deoxit. So I'll Deoxit everything. It's a board-based computer, so there's lots of boards. They all need Deoxit, I'm sure, by this point. So yeah, let me know. Talk to you soon.